You walked away, thought it would just be another absence, but it wasn't. This person tried to pretend, tried to fill the emptiness, put other voices in place of yours, other touches, different times, other distractions, but some things just don't fade away. You've stuck to a point that no one else can reach. This person feels this in the silence, in the aftermath. In the moment when nothing else happens, they notice it in the cold bed, in the conversation that's lacking depth, in the hug that ends before it even begins. You're still there, even after you've left. And it's not drama, it's a real absence. It's the loss of what was genuine. It's the body rejecting what isn't you. This person tries to move on, but trips over the name you left behind, over the memory of your voice, over how everything was simpler with you. It's no longer fun to laugh just for the sake of it, or to hear "stay" from someone who doesn't know your escapes. This person has figured it out. It took a while, but now it's clear. What you had wasn't ordinary, and what you caused doesn't just go away. You marked a spot that can't be erased. You created a space that no one else can fill, and it may take a little longer, but this person will come back, not out of nostalgia, but because it's impossible to live without what made sense. Do you notice this too? Or are you still trying to escape what you feel? You left. And even if you didn't say it in so many words, you knew someone there would miss you. But what you perhaps didn't foresee is what's happening now. This person couldn't simply move on, not the way they imagined, not with the lightness they promised themselves. In the beginning, they faked it well, talked about other things, smiled with other voices, said it's all good for everyone to hear. But inside, there was already a movement forming, subtle, almost imperceptible, but real. The absence began to speak louder than any distraction, and the body started to react before the mind could accept it. This person realized. You realized that some things are irreplaceable, and that even from afar you still touched a place where no one else did. It wasn't a generic longing, it was the awareness of what was true, that feeling that no one understands how silence settles in, the way everything feels lighter when you were around, the rhythm of conversations that didn't force intimacy, the presence that didn't require effort. This person tried to forget, tried to compare, tried to fill the void, but nothing could undo the impact you made. You left, but you remained in the little habits, in the lack of spontaneity, in the discomfort that others cause just by not being you. Some things can't be faked, and what you had was exactly that. It didn't need the right words. It didn't depend on perfection. It had no control. It was simple, but it was profound. It was light, but it was strong. And this person is starting to face the truth that your absence weighs heavy, not just from the lack of company, but from the absence of real connection. Today, even the touch of other hands is bothersome. The presence of other people feels empty. Laughter seems forced. You still echo, in the details, in the timings, in the memories that arise out of nowhere. This person doesn't speak of it, doesn't send messages, doesn't expose it, but feels, and feels more each day. Because the more time passes, the harder it becomes to pretend that there wasn't something special between you. This person realized that what they had with you doesn't repeat, can't be forced, isn't easily found. And no matter how much they try to avoid it, deep down there's a desire growing, silent but persistent, the desire to return, to say what wasn't said, to hear what wasn't allowed, because time has passed but the feeling hasn't. It stayed there, stored away, hidden but whole. And now it begins to seep out at the edges. It shows up in lingering glances, in written and deleted messages, in memories that hurt more than they should. This person doesn't know how to reach out, but they've already understood that they need to. They've realized that it can't continue being denied what they feel, not for you, but for themselves. Because living without this, without what you both had and isn't working, it hurts. It's exhausting. It's empty. And there comes a time when we need to stop pretending to be strong, just because we're afraid to feel again. This person is reaching that point, where the fear of continuing without you is greater than the fear of trying one more time. And maybe you're starting to notice this too. Perhaps you've felt a different intuition, a recurring thought, a name that keeps coming up in the most random moments. Because when two hearts truly mark each other, the absence is never complete. Do you feel it? Or are you still trying to convince yourself that it doesn't matter anymore? This person won't be able to handle this silence much longer, and the next step will no longer be escape. It will be a meeting, a recognition, a truth. If this resonates with you, comment, "I needed to hear this." Have you been through this? Tell me here in the comments. Finish this sentence at being true to what I feel is. This is the moment when the truth starts to move. Because eventually everything that is repressed begins to scream. Eventually the body rejects the lie. Eventually the heart gets tired of putting up defenses. And this person is at that point, exhausted from pretending that everything is fine. You know, you feel it, even if you try to deny it. There's something in you that also hasn't moved on. Something that remembers vividly. Something that waits even without admitting it. And perhaps everything is still standing, even after so much time, even after everything that hasn't been said. Because what was real doesn't die. It just stays quiet until it's safe to come back. And now, it's starting to be. You left a longing, but what remains isn't just absence. It's a love that has withstood time, pride, pauses, and attempts at replacement. It's something that can no longer be denied, and this person has already begun to realize. Now it's your turn to look within, without diverting, without postponing. What you feel inside, is it still alive? Does it still pulse? Does it still sting when you hear the name? If so, then you know. You also no longer know how to live without it. And maybe it's time to stop pretending, because love has never been afraid to return. There comes a moment when everything overflows, and that person is right there, where there's no point in running anymore, where there's no point in hiding behind ready-made phrases, cold justifications, lukewarm relationships. Everything that was improvised began to crumble. Everything that was distraction turned into weight, and now the body no longer lies. The chest tightens at times that used to be yours. Sleep doesn't come. Hunger fades away. Joy doesn't last. Nothing can fill what you used to complete with so little. That person tried a lot, maybe more than they should have, maybe more than you realize. But there comes a time when even the effort to pretend gets exhausting, and they got tired. Tired of seeking from others what only existed with you. Tired of accepting less than they received. Tired of forcing conversations that spark nothing. And then came the quietest pain, to realize that you weren't an exaggeration. You weren't an illusion. You weren't a phase. You were home, you were peace, you were truth. That person now realizes they don't know how to live without it. Because what you had wasn't just a relationship. It was a refuge, an invisible pact. A space where everything made sense. And no matter how much time has passed, no matter how silent everything has become, some connections simply do not break. Time didn't win. Pride didn't win. Absence didn't win. All of this only showed that what you had was greater than any distance, more real than any story that was tried to be built afterward. And maybe you felt this too, even while trying to move on, even while denying it. Even while saying it's all in the past, there's a part of you that hasn't accepted, that still waits, that still questions, what still wants. And that's where everything starts to move again, because when two people feel the same way at the same time, the universe responds, life starts to give signs. Coincidences become glaring, and what seemed lost becomes possible again. This person won't run away anymore, and maybe, for the first time, you'll stop running too, because the truth doesn't hurt more than the lie you've been telling yourself. And feeling, no matter how frightening it is, will always be lighter than hiding. Have you noticed this? Or are you still trying to convince your heart that it's strong enough to live without it? If yes, right here. I'm feeling this. If not, go back and read again, because you wouldn't have made it this far if you weren't feeling it too. Now listen, the return won't be perfect. It won't be the way you imagine it in your thoughts, but it will be genuine. And that is already everything. This person is willing to talk, to open up, to break the ice, not out of need, but for clarity, because now they know what matters, and they know who you are. You weren't just another person. You weren't a coincidence. You were a turning point. And no one forgets that. No one comes out of that unscathed. So if there's still a part of you that pulses, even if it's small, look at it. Without fear, without defense. Look and acknowledge. Because sometimes all you need is a simple gesture, a message, a word, a glance that says, "I'm still here." And maybe this is the moment. The moment to stop running from what still lives inside you, from what you try to disguise, from what wakes you up at night for no apparent reason, from what insists on appearing in the silences. This person let you go, but they couldn't erase, nor forget, nor replace. And now, they want to come back, not to beg, not to plead, but to show that even after everything, the feeling remained. Do you see this? Or do you still need more time to accept what has always been inside you? Because when someone chooses not to return, it's not just the presence that leaves. Along with it goes the future, the possibilities, the details that only existed in that encounter. And this person, who now starts to realize they don't know how to live without that, will feel everything with an intensity that words can't contain. They will miss not only you, but the version of themselves that only existed with you. The lightness, the spark, the way of laughing that they could never replicate with anyone else. Do you think they moved on? No, they just pretended better than they expected. But inside, nothing has ever felt whole again. Each new attempt has turned into a comparison. Each new presence feels like noise. Nothing touches the same chord. Nothing ignites the same light. And now comes the worst kind of loneliness. The one that doesn't stem from the absence of someone, but from the absence of oneself. Because you left and took parts of them with you that never returned. And no matter how hard they try to recreate it, this person knows. They know that what you had can't be repeated, can't be found again, can't be born elsewhere. This person thought they would forget, but they realized too late that it wasn't something to be forgotten. It was meant to be lived until the end, and now all that remains is regret. Not the loud, impulsive kind, but the silent one, the one that slowly consumes, the one that settles deep in the throat and makes it hard to breathe properly. This regret that doesn't speak but screams with every attempt to be happy with someone else. Do you feel that too? Or are you still trying to convince yourself that it was better this way? Because when the truth arrives, it doesn't knock on the door, it walks in, it invades, it breaks. And what this person feels now is exactly that. The truth has arrived, and there's no denying it anymore. There's no going on pretending. There's no loving halfway. There's no accepting less than what was lived with you. You left a void, but you left more than that. You left the mark of something that can't be explained. It can only be felt. And when it is felt, nothing else is enough. This person tried to return to themselves, but they realized that part of them is still where you left them. Maybe you'll never know this. Maybe they'll never say it. But deep down there's a scream trapped in their chest, a comeback that was never spoken, a plea for forgiveness that was never heard, a "I still love you" suffocated by fear. Fear of time, fear of the unknown, fear of having waited too long, and now they ask themselves every day, what if? What if they had stayed? What if they had fought? What if they had called you before you left for good? That what if is what remains when love isn't chosen. It's the echo that fills the silences. It's the ghost that appears in every attempt to move on. It's the wound that heals on the outside but bleeds on the inside. Do you also feel that what if? Or do you still believe you lost something ordinary? Because what you lost wasn't just anything. It was the only thing that made sense. It was the only one who truly saw you. It was the only one who stayed when everything else went away. And you let that slip away. You distanced yourself, maybe out of fear, maybe out of pride, maybe out of not knowing what was in your hands. But now it's too late, because time took away the chance to do things differently. And all that's left was realization. You realize now. You realize it was love. You realize it was rare. You realize you lost. And this person realizes it too. They realize there's no turning back. They realize there are no more excuses. They realize that silence has become a sentence. But deep inside them, there's still a movement, something small, almost imperceptible, but alive. A flame that hasn't gone out, a name that hasn't been forgotten, a feeling that even though wounded still exists. Do you feel that inside you? Then stop pretending. Because if the feeling survived all this, it can still be rebuilt. Not the same, not like before, but in a way that's more genuine. And maybe there's still time. But only if you have the courage. Only if you stop running away. Only if you say what you feel, now. Before life closes another door, before this person gives up waiting. Before silence turns into forgetfulness. If this touched you in some way, don't keep it to yourself. There's someone right now, silently, feeling all of this too. Share it with those who need this truth, with those who still love and haven't had the courage to return. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving messages like this. Here we don't talk about appearances. We talk about what hurts, what pulses, and what no one dares to say. Comment below, have you ever experienced this or worse? Did you let it slip away and never felt the same again? Write it down, without fear. Your comment could heal someone. And if this made sense to you so far, leave a like, not for engagement, but to show the algorithm that this type of content needs to reach more hearts. This conversation is just beginning. There's more, so much more. Click on the next video and come with me. The deepest part is yet to come.